of marriages in America end in divorce. This leaves many children, like myself, to deal with the consequences of their parents' separation. Although divorce may have a negative connotation and many negative aspects, such as a confusion of custody, parental disagreements, and unhealthy relationships, divorce also carries many positive characteristics. For me, those positives are most greatly defined by my step-family members who would have otherwise been complete strangers. My stepdad Jim and my stepbrother Jonathan have accepted me into their family and greatly impacted me in many ways. These people all make me who I am, and it is impossible for me to know how different life would be without them. As a result of divorce, I also get to spend my time in two completely different environments, which has given me much more knowledge and experience than I would have had otherwise, not to mention more birthday and Christmas presents. Divorce is not an event to be celebrated. However, with a positive outlook, we can realize that every cloud has a silver lining.
I used to be a peaceful person. I used to be a joyful person. I used to be happy. That was before I got a little bit of information and it ruined it all. A little bit of knowledge can be very dangerous. I learned one day that my previous stepdad had molested my little sister, and since then I've had a death wish on him. My stepdad was one of the cruelest people I've ever met in my entire family, and he has molested more than my little sister. He lies in jail now, but one of these days I would like for him to get out, simply because I have such a burning hatred for him and would like to confront him about it. A little bit of knowledge in some situations may not be such a bad thing, such as knowing that little bit of knowledge on your algebra test. But in situations such as this, it has ruined my entire life, because before, I couldn't think of anything I would do to somebody to hurt them. But now, I can't live knowing this without wanting to kill the man. A little bit of knowledge is truly a bad thing in some situations.
The family stood along the narrow pathway and the damp, grassy path, holding on to one another, daring not to let go. I stood there with tears in my eyes, trying to rationalize the idea that every cloud has a silver lining. My best friend's dad, my second dad, had passed away. My brain flooded with questions as they lowered him into the muddy ground. All he was doing was sleeping on that same couch where we used to watch thrilling movies and play Monster. I wanted to crawl up in a ball like a roly-poly does when they are scared. Through all of this, I was supposed to remember that every cloud has a silver lining. However, right then and there, as my tears started to fall down my face like a rainforest storm, I could not figure out the silver lining. Years later, while visiting him on a warm spring morning, I remember realizing the silver lining. Even though I was mourning over his loss, he taught me to be strong mentally. Today, I wish he was still here. His smile always brightened my day. However, even without him here, he was still able to teach me that every cloud has a silver lining.
Okay, the thought of white-tipped waves crashing into the sparkling sand comes to mind when I think of my cousin. Bailey is only 4 months older than me, and even though we lived thousands of miles away from each other, we were inseparable as children. We made up crazy dances, tried to do each other's hair, and we even played on the same soccer team. We went on many family vacations at Clearwater Beach. We were attached at the hip, and she was like the sister that I never had. As we continued to grow up, we became more busy and more distant. The family vacations ended, along with all contact between my cousin and I. I became very uneasy and bitter towards her. This year is her first year at college, and she attends Emory and Henry in Virginia. Although we are closer in distance, my cousin and I's relationship is more distant than ever. However, as time passes, my bitterness fades towards her, and I have come to realize that absence makes the heart go fonder.
June 6, 1944 was a day that will forever live in infamy. 175,000 people ran up the beaches in trying to make the world a better place for us all to live. They fought and bled on the beaches of Normandy. Hot lead, fire, and men willing to kill hundreds stood in their path. They sacrificed so much for tomorrow so that all of us can live in liberty. 6 years ago, I visited that very same place. It was very cold, chilling, and the wind went right down my spine. It was so dark and mysterious, and everything about it just seemed so lost. I stood and I wondered what it would have been like to be there and how that they could have sacrificed so much for us. The sand in my hand felt cool, though I knew just a few years ago blood had stained it. The graves stood at the top of the hill of what they had conquered only 80 years before, and only the memories that left of them. I was able to go and stand on the beach with my liberties just because of their sacrifice and their willing to stand against evil. There was a proverb engraved on the stone on the beach, and the proverb was, "After every storm comes a calm." The storm was their fight for our freedom, and the calm was my ability to live in it. And today I live to that proverb because now I know that every sacrifice will come a calm and everything will be okay.
Packing up her things and saying goodbye. My older sister left for college like a couple weeks ago, and packing up her stuff and finally moving out of her house made me realize that she was gone for good and that she wasn't going to come back and live with us. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. When we were children, playing together every day, we were best friends and inseparable at the hip. She basically raised me from a little kid, and even when we were 2, she would change my diapers. She was my best friend and basically my guidance for everything. I went to her whenever we had a problem. As growing up, like when we got into our teens, we started fighting more and more and became very distant and never really talked anymore, and our relationship was gone. It was really heartbreaking, but I had to just deal with it because she didn't want anything to do with me. This last year with her, it was her senior year, she really began to change and mature, and she kept on being a better sister and realizing that she wouldn't have me around forever and that we wouldn't pester each other for the rest of our lives, that she was going to be gone and we would start our own lives. It took seeing her every day and her being gone for me to realize that our fighting was done and that she was really mature, and I took her for granted because I did see her every day. And after she moved out, we began getting closer and our relationship rekindled, and so her being gone took me to realize that our relationship had gotten better. So absence makes the heart grow fonder.
As the butterflies flourished throughout the stomachs of my teammates, not only was I ready to play one of the best games of my life, but I was ready to shut down the number 6 team in the state. Well, the game started, and everything was going as planned up until about the midway point of the second quarter. Little did I know, the very next play was literally going to change everything. So the quarterback hiked the ball, and he threw it to the receiver to my side of the field. And on my pursuit to the ball, in my mind I'm thinking, not only am I going to make this play, but I'm going to end this kid's life with like a brutal hit. So I collided with the Avon receiver, and I collided with my teammate, with my own teammate as well. I instantly hit the ground after that, and I could no longer hear the overwhelming roar coming from the crowd. I could no longer hear my coach tirelessly yelling from the sidelines. As I laid stretched out across the turf field, the only thing that was running through my mind was the amount of agonizing pain that I was in. I had torn my ACL, MCL, and meniscus all in that one play. That one play that put my season to an abrupt halt. But something was gained that day. I learned that everything wasn't about me, and I learned to put people first and not put myself first. And so I live by the motto, no pain, no gain.
They say there's no I in team. However, there's a deeper meaning to this saying. Not only that a team works as a unit and a single individual alone cannot lead a team to victory, but that in everyday life, teams are much more effective than one individual as long as the teams stick together. One fateful summer night 3 years ago, my team, consisting of 4 reckless teenage boys, learned that united we stand and divided we fall. It was 3 a.m. on the first Monday night of our summer. I remember it was a cool, damp night. accompanied by a vividly clear and starry night. We were running around the neighborhood causing mischief, ding-dong ditching and throwing toilet paper and all sorts of other things. And as we continued, we were walking along the street in a row, us four, and one of us turned around and he turned back around and yelled, "Cop!" And so there was a pearly white Dodge Charger, and he flashed his lights and he directed his spotlight right at us. And without a split second of thought, all four of us ran. We were running into the backyards, jumping over fences, and I decided that it would be a good idea for us to split up. So I ran the other way, and as I was running, two cops were chasing after me. I ran until I was cut off by one of the officers, and that's when I knew I was caught. So before I knew it, I was driven back to where I was staying that night, and I was standing right before my friend's crying mother. And my other friends had made it home safely, but they weren't too happy to know I did too, but I brought the police with me. Since that moment, I've learned that anything done is best done in a team, and one that doesn't split up at that. It's just a funny life experience that has taught me that in life, whether it's sports teams or general tasks, that everything's best done in a team that doesn't split up, because united we stand and divided we fall.
Last year, I thought I knew how the next 2 years of my high school career were going to end. I knew I was going to be playing volleyball. I knew exactly which courses I was going to take. But I didn't expect my mom, one single text from my mom, to completely flip that upside down. I've been playing volleyball since my 6th grade year, and that's been my entire life. I have been talking with my high school coach all the time, talking about the future. I even went to a volleyball club that was an hour away. I get back at midnight and go to school the next day, which is crazy. One time when I was warming up hitting, I felt a click in my back, and I thought, oh God, Jen, what did you just do? And for the rest of the night, I just iced my back and rested it. The next day, I went to the doctor and got x-rays and thought nothing of it, because I thought I just pulled a muscle or something. Then I got a text from my mom saying, Jen, your back is broken. And a normal back looks like this. My back looks like this. And right here is broken. So, and it hurt a lot. And also, the last vertebrae is 40% slipped out of place. I was in a back brace for about a month, which was awful. You're literally sitting like this. You can't bend over or anything. And then I remember I kept asking myself, why me? Why did this happen to me? And I never realized all the opportunities that opened up to me because I wasn't able to play volleyball. So then I realized that everything happens for a reason.